Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News for this Monday, November 25. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. With a number of corruption scandals plaguing the government, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has issued a stern warning to the opposition. He was speaking at the JLP's annual conference yesterday, where he reiterated a commitment to providing more resources for anti-corruption agencies.
What is important is that the government supports the development of the institution so it can accelerate very quickly on that learning curve and provide the resources so that they can move very quickly on the learning curve, and that the government does not intervene or interfere. And that message goes to the opposition as well. Leave the anti-corruption and policing agencies to do their jobs.
And with a general election on the horizon, the Prime Minister has placed the electorate on alert.
The Labour Party is ready to take on a second term to work in your service.
There's a call from JLP supporters in St. Ann Northwest for the party's executive to decide who will represent them in the next general election. The constituency has been without a caretaker following the resignation of former Education Minister Ruel Reid. TVJ's Shamela Pullen reports.
Since former Education Minister and caretaker for Northwest St. Ann, Ruel Reid, stepped down from representational politics because of corruption allegations, the constituency has been left in limbo. But JLP supporters are even more worried now since the Jamaica Labour Party annual conference on Sunday. Party supporters expressed disappointment that they attended the conference without a representative.
No more. We need somebody around here to represent me. And we need a kid. Why Mr. Andrew Holness? Why we don't put somebody in South, in Northwest Centre? No, we need it now.
Their supporters wanted councillor for the Brownstone Division and battled Kim Brown Lawrence to represent them as caretaker. But Ms. Brown Lawrence and Mr. Reid have been charged in relation to the corruption probe at the Caribbean Maritime University.
Everybody knows the situation that we're in. Now, I don't know if it's a headquarters that's moving slow. We're trying to make a final decision, but we need to make a decision soon because we have an election coming up possible in the near future. So we need to settle this and get everybody, extra motivated.
However, one supporter said they will do what they can on the ground until a decision is made.
We here in the Brownstone Division, that's on the ground. We're working, getting everything in place for when that call is made, we're ready to go. So that's basically what we have to do on the ground, micromanage what we have to do and leave it up to the headquarters to make the decision, and hopefully they'll make it soon enough.
The constituency has been a marginal seat, with the seat changing hands in recent elections. At the moment, the seat is occupied by the PNP's Dr. Dayton Campbell, who defeated the JLP's Othniel Lawrence for a second time. Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
The Agriculture Ministry is promising to help farmers in Clarendon revive the production of certain items. Audley Shaw made the announcement during a recent tour of the Chapperton Market. Details in this report.
For years, Clarendon has been severely affected by a decline in agricultural production. This has resulted in few provisions for a sale inside the markets. But addressing farmers during a tour of the parish recently, Agriculture Minister Audley Shaw says help is on the way.
So Grace Kennedy right now is setting up a processing facility in Denby. You hear that, Denby? Not far from here. Grace Kennedy is setting up a processing facility in Denby so that some of what we grow that can process, we can have it processed at Grace Kennedy in Denby. But another one.
The Agriculture Minister says farmers in the parish must also do their part. Mr. Shaw says part of the plan going forward is to process whatever the farmers cannot sell fresh.
I don't want you to give up. And we're going to get the RADA people to step up their activities. The Agro-Invest company that is here on display, they have to step up their activities too. And the RADA Extension Services must step up their activities because we're going to help the farmers here. Those who want to stay in a cane, we guarantee you market. Those who want to start put up some orchard crops, you put up some orchard crops.
Mr. Shaw says the time has come to turn around the misfortunes affecting farmers.
Because this year we started selling mangoes to the United States again for the first time in 20 years. We exported Julie mangoes and East Indian mangoes to the United States. And trust me when I tell you, when they see the mango them come, the mango them from Mexico and Dominican Republic, them run like thief when they see Jamaican mango them come.
Shimala Pullen, TVJ News.
A 77-year-old woman in St. Mary was robbed last week of an undetermined sum of money. The incident happened about 2 o'clock on Thursday at a bar in Stewarttown, which is operated by the woman. She told TVJ News that shortly after arriving home, she saw a strange person inside her room.
They say, where the cheese where you have in your bathroom? And before my sister take a towel and he wrap up the whole of my head. And I'm trying to fight him. I try to fight him and I hold on. Funny hand. And when I hold on, it wasn't a hand, it was a gun. It's a tough something in my hand. And instead to the other guy say, carry the tight tape come. And the guy carry the tape and he tape up my two hands together. And shoot me down on the bed and jump off.
The woman, who is still in shock, said the act was done by someone familiar with her because they called her by name.
Because I just run right into my bedroom. My husband was out here, so my son was on the veranda, and my helper was in the kitchen. And then grab up my helper, tape up his mouth, tape up his hand, and say, where the money where you have in the room? I set up, man, and somebody set me up. But then go and catch them.
And it's time for a break, but stay with us. More stories right after these messages. Welcome back, and we're continuing the news. American Airlines has resumed non-stop flights from the JFK International Airport in the United States to Montego Bay. With details, here's TVJ's O'Shane Masters.
Additional seats and an increase in tourism dollars. That's the expectation with the resumption of American Airlines flight to Jamaica. A number of players in the tourism sector were on hand to welcome the first set of passengers on Friday at the Sangster International Airport. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett highlighted the importance of the American Airlines flight from the northeastern United States.
It's going to be opening up new gateways for other destinations. And Jamaica finds itself now in a very envious position in that we are today the most connected destination in the English-speaking Caribbean.
Now, with these additional seats, Mr. Bartlett says things are looking even more favorable in terms of the winter season.
We are growing out of the United States now by some 13.3%, and out of the northeastern seaboard at 18%. We're expecting to move that up, and the winter is going to have more than 100 flights coming out of the U.S.
For his part, U.S. Ambassador to Jamaica Donald Tapia is urging American Airlines to open up a gateway between Phoenix, Arizona and Jamaica. In the meantime, this warning from Ambassador Tapia.
The U.S. and Jamaica are friends. We will always be friends. No matter who tries to separate us, we are here together.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is reiterating that stigma and discrimination are major problems in the fight against HIV. Dr. Tufton, who was speaking at the official launch of World AIDS Day, said gender inequality, interpersonal violence, and high-risk behavior are also contributing to the spread of HIV. World AIDS Day is December 1. This year's theme is Communities Make the Difference. It's focusing on the eradication of stigma against HIV by collaborating with communities and raising awareness.
Partners, families, and friends. This means that in too many instances people are denied needed social support that, as we have seen often in public health, can significantly enhance health outcomes. Stigma is also significantly associated with the late presentation of HIV care.
Data from the Health Ministry show that at the end of 2018, 84% of HIV-positive persons were diagnosed. 47% of those diagnosed were on antiretroviral medication and 62% had achieved viral suppression. While those figures show progress, the ministry is still behind the target.
Living with HIV and return them to care. Healthcare workers in the treatment sites are also tasked with developing specific management plans based on the need of the patient. This work is complemented by a series of mass media campaigns aimed at addressing the gaps in HIV treatment and care.
And in sports, head coach of Kingston College, Ludlow Bernard, has cited a disciplined approach as one of the reasons for Saturday night's victory in the ISA Champions Cup. The purple and white standard bearers were propelled to a historic second win of the title from a strike from Ronaldo Robinson in the 63rd minute to defeat the pre-tournament favorite Clarendon College 1-0. Bernard said his team was well aware that it would be difficult to beat Clarendon College, but felt once they scored first, they could defend the lead.
I knew this was a game in which we weren't going to have the bulk of the possession because the Clarendon team have very gifted players technically. Not that our players aren't gifted, but we are limited in midfield. So as you would realize all season, we don't really play a midfield game, we play to our strength. Strong defense, good counter-attacking skill, right? And that's what we employed here today. That's what we've been playing all season.
Meanwhile, Technical Director at Clarendon College, Lenny Hyde, says it is clear that teams are now figuring out their system of play, resulting in them losing their first game of the season.
In a cup, disappointing result for us. We can't, it seems like we can't win this cup here. We can't get this cup, so I saw it go, you know.
The champions pocketed $1 million while the runners-up received $500,000. While Kingston College's season is over, Clarendon College will now turn their attention to next weekend's Da Costa Cup final against Dint Hill Technical. And that's the Midday News. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.